I'm actually quite happy with that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really want to change it. That's the best it's been. That's fucking so good. So, I mean, for, you know, a CQB gun that I'm mostly going to use on single anyway. Alright, thanks for checking out this video. So we're going to take a bit of a break on the channel from sticking it to Tokyo Marui. Only joking, obviously, but it does appear that giving Marui shtick does gain traction on my videos more so than the rest of them. So, I don't know, do with that what you will. The noise in the background is the cats kind of going berserk for some stuff going on outside. They're just being incredibly nosy neighbour cats. Aren't you, Bella? There she is. So yeah, this video we're going to take another look at the VFC 416C build that I was doing. If you haven't watched the rest of the videos on this project, I encourage you to go back and do so. But either way, it should make sense as we go on. Basically, if you remember, I had an issue with some of the magazines not working, and even the same like Umarex branded HK416 VFC mags with the V3 toppers that I've put on. They're the same, but for some reason one of them wasn't working properly. It seemed like on one of them the gas valve knocker was just getting pushed up and out of the way by the valve as it was inserted into the gun, and no matter if you had it already cocked when you put it in or if you cocked it after you put it in, it just didn't like, it would just get knocked out of the way and wouldn't punch gas and cycle the gun. So I did have a little look at the magazines, and it did appear like one of the knockers protruded a little more than the other one. I thought maybe that's the reason why. But none of my other VFC guns have that issue. So I took a bit of a further look, and I think I've figured it out, and we're going to sort of explore what I think it might be in this video. If it is, hopefully it will shoot much better. If it's not, I'll carry on searching. I also want to take a look at the rate of fire that this is doing and see if we can improve it with some other recoil spring setups. I'd really like to be able to do like a shooting test in this video, but I don't think I'm going to have time. I do have to go off to work. Okay, so the XM177 is here because it's going to play a part in this. Now, before I put all of the internal bits inside this that were bought for this gun, I was impatient and ran it with the internal parts from the XM177. And when I did that, it worked really well with all the mags and I didn't have this issue. So what I've pinned it down to is the hammer. So we're going to swap the hammers back over, and I'll explain why I think it's the hammer that's causing this problem with the magazine as we go on. I'll just quickly, since the last video, I've got the mini Surefire Warden that's a direct thread one. It doesn't have the mock 2D mount thing that some of them do. I'm not sure if it's maybe supposed to be hidden by a rail and it's supposed to have that, or if Surefire do a Warden that's direct thread that looks like this anyway. Don't know. I really like how it looks, and it's got some nice Surefire markings on it, so it'll do the job. I also got a fold-in front sight that I just keep up, because when you fold it down, it obviously gets in the way of the suppressor. I just keep it up, and that means I can utilize all this rail space. I've got a PEC 15 on here. It's a cheap Temu one. I feel like doing a video on Wish, Airsoft Wish, or Temu Airsoft, you know, AliExpress stuff you can get that's actually usable and stuff that is pretty crap. I'm not sure what category this falls into yet, but I'm thinking of doing like a little video on that stuff, because you can get some pretty cool cheap stuff on there that will save you a bunch of money and just make your clone builds look nice. And then the only other thing I've changed is internally I've put in a different recoil system. I've put in like the actual 416C recoil system, which is this rod that goes inside the bolt carrier, and a buffer spring and like a metal short stroke thing. Now, because this stock tube I've got on here is longer than the 416C one, this is more like the Maxim Defense one, there's also like a rubber buffer in here. And because I'm doing this, I've just removed the retention ring. Sorry, I've removed the retention pin and spring. The thing like clamps down solid when the stock's deployed. Like it's not gonna move around anywhere at all. So it just seemed unnecessary to have this with this recoil setup. And even with the other recoil setup, if you remember, the buffer was actually too small for this pin to actually retain it and make any difference. So we're just gonna pop the upper to one side and do the same thing with the XM. I will have to take the stock off because of how I've got it set up. Now, I did just have an issue with the XM177 that I'll be completely honest about. Obviously, I am a big VFC fanboy, but I'll point them out when they fuck up as well. And that is, I don't know if you can see this little hairline crack. So I was replacing the trigger guard from the Magpul one that was in there to the classic one. I think I just reverted back to its stock setup for a bit. And as I was punching the pin out this way, I didn't see that it had just taken this portion of the receiver with it. As I punched it out, it took this portion of the lower receiver with it. And yeah, just cracked it off. And once you get past how nice the finish looks, you can see that VFC make their receivers out of, it feels like clay. It's like a hard cheese more than it is aluminium. So yeah, VFC, I wish you would make better quality aluminium receivers. Like if you had this gun with, you know, like a more premium version with a nicer aluminium receiver with a proper finish and not this zinc alloy stuff, I'd spend another couple of £100 on that over this and have the guarantee. The Tokyo Marui stuff with that Cerakote is going to hold up a lot nicer, a lot longer than this does. That was quite disappointing. I've glued it back on with some Loctite, like super glue for metal, so that seems to have dried very quickly and held it in place. And then I'm just not going to risk changing my trigger guard on this anymore, which is a bit annoying, but is what it is. So just to call VFC out on that, for anyone who's watched my Marui videos and just thinks I'm a sucker for VFC no matter what, I will point out the shit where the shit needs to be pointed out. So we're literally just gonna swap the hammers, and as we do, I'll show you why I think this is the issue. I got an actual set of punches for Christmas from my girlfriend. So no more fucking using screwdrivers as punches. We've gone up in the world. Up in here. Right. Probably should have it's all good. Right, hammer. Note to self, make sure that pin is fully punched out. So this is the one that I put in the 416C, that I bought for the 416C. I didn't realise that it doesn't come with the set screw here. I think the surface of the set screw catches on the back of the gas release knocker, and as it catches on it, it pushes it up and holds it firmly in line with the release valve on the mag. And I think that is what this is missing. The one that was in the VFC one doesn't have this set screw, so it was just sort of smoothing past, it was just grazing past that release knocker, and then the release knocker wouldn't be knocked in a downwards position, it would be just stay up, and then as the hammer would come forward and drop on it, it would just move it upwards and out of the way of the release knocker. So that's what I think is going on. Now before I buy another, you know, spend another 25 quid on a steel hammer, I just wanted to do a part swap and check that that is actually what's going on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to check it out. Line that up. Pin. Line up properly. I don't want to smash this receiver open as well, so carefully. There we go. Right, so that's my hammer in there. Let's just see how that aligns. So mag in. Cool, that one's fine. Mag in. That one's not. Okay. So apparently that's not helped. It's still doing it. That should be spurting gas. Ooh. Okay. So dry fire switch did affect that. So let's de-dry fire it. These mags actually bolt stopping effectively, but that's more down to the fact that the top of the magazines aren't for these. They're for the black Stanag ones that come with like their ECM mags. So they're for them. They're not for the Umarex HK mags. So they slightly different shape and stuff. And I think the follower just sometimes doesn't quite reach the top enough to put pressure on this to stop the bolt. So it's something in another video I'll take a closer look at. Maybe I'll need to remove a little bit of material from the inside of it so that it can come up, or add something to the bottom underneath the follower spring to give it a bit more tension. Right, so let's have another look at this. Hammer down, cock back, that's in line. Hammer down, cock back, that's not in line. Now it is. Weird, okay. Weird. Now it is. Now it is in line. Not in line. Now it's in line. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but it didn't do that. It wasn't doing that with the other hammer. I know for sure it wasn't doing that with the other hammer. There we go. Now it's in line. Now it's in line. Now that's in line. That's in line. Okay, maybe it's needed to just bed in a little bit first. Obviously what I can do is pull out that set screw a little bit, and that will aid it in knocking the valve release. I don't want to do that because that set screw's there so that you can add more gas into the system in like the cold and stuff to sort of force it through any pressure issues you're having because of cool down. Okay, cool. So let's put it back together and test it. We'll dry fire it with the setup I had already in there first. I know I just filled up the mags with duster gas, so I will get the green gas out as well. But we are only going to dry fire. We're not going to go out and actually test it properly today. Cool. back in there. Just out of curiosity, let's see. I think that's in line enough. That definitely is. Okay, so that one works in there. And that one works in there. So maybe I won't even need to get a new hammer. I don't really get why it seems to be working in both now. Fucking airsoft, right? Sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so buffer. And then we need to put this. It's a weird setup because it's short. It means you can't split the gun. This is the most cack-handed way I've ever done this. Fucking pins out the way, right, in, rack it a few times to get everything back and lined up and stuff. Make sure that the bolt catch works, which it does. So that buffer, she literally short strokes it just about as much as it can. There's still a lot of spring tension in there. So that is something that I need to sort of be wary of. But chamber's clear. That's super nice and snappy, right? But that could be a bit faster. Try it on green gas as well, but that's only doing. Shit, the hammer's come out. 2 seconds. The hammer's misaligned. And I'm going to need to pull the hammer out again. All the way out now that it's aligned. Alright, so this piece that's come out, goes in the middle here, pretty sure, and it just pushes these bits out enough to stop that pin walking out. Pretty sure I remember that from the last time I took this apart, so should have clocked it, my bad. Hopefully that pin stops walking out on me. So yeah, that bit, it just basically hooks around one of the grooves that's in this pin. That little metal bit that I just put in. It hooks around one of the grooves that's in this pin and stops it from walking side to side. And that's how you can put the pin in, like either way. So it's quite simple, well thought out. So hopefully now that doesn't walk side to side. Right, try that again, shall we? Buffer in. Recoil system in. I'm going to do it this way. I don't know why I've not been doing it this way. It's the way I usually do it. Just been trying to make it look clearer on camera as to how it goes in, but you know, that was a lot easier. Cool, so that's back in. Hopefully we have not changed anything that will change that rate of fire. That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, that is better than how it's been. Let's just give it a bit of green gas. These bags take so much gas. That lock back. Shouldn't have done. Oh, no, I got a jam, weird. I'm actually quite happy with that, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really want to change it. That's the best it's been. That's fucking so good. So, I mean, for a CQB gun that I'm mostly going to use on single anyway, you know, you're laughing, right? Cool. So there we have that. Now, obviously the old recoil system I had in it, spring that I'd cut down a bit, tiny little buffer, but yeah, I'm not going to touch it, to be honest. That's pretty good how it is. Quite happy with that. The rate of fire is nice. That hammer in there is like doing a really good job. Now let's maybe compare it to the XM. It's about the mag working. Which it does. It's a bit slow. I think this gun needs a bit of a clean, to be honest. Right. Been a bit of a dick bag, but maybe this is a version 2 hammer or something, and it just doesn't like the gun too much. So that's fair. I have had a bit of a trigger problem with this one in the past, where it doesn't reset. Although it sounds like I was getting a bit of bolt bounce there, so maybe. Yeah, I need to do a bit of maintenance on this gun. It's now 2 years old and it's been used quite a lot. So, oh, I did short stroke it. I've short stroked the buffer with something like it was a little rubber thing that I put down the buffer tube. And so what I think is happening is the back of the buffer is getting caught up on that, and it's not coming forward. So I need to clean out the back of this buffer tube. I didn't want to put a new buffer tube on because it's a proper like 2-position one, and yeah, I don't know. Ugh. That's a bit annoying. Again, user error. That was me. I just really do need to sort that out. But moving back over to this guy, I'm quite pleased with it. So that's super snappy, and the rate of fire is actually really, really great. Yeah, spot on. Cool. Shall we give it a little chrono it into a bag, as we usually do? I found a little bag of 2s that I probably shouldn't use. No idea what they are. They're a bag that clearly came with a pistol, but they're most likely to be from a Marui pistol, so I am hopeful that they're fine. So some .2s that you can literally load by hand quite easily, because the VFC mags are way better to load than the Marui mags, and I will die on that hill. So the last time I chronoed this with my chrono was, I took it to like a little indoor place. It's called Alpha Guns in Aldgate in London. I just popped down there after work just to sort of test things out and show a mate of mine, or a colleague, what it's all about and try and get him into it. So So I took this and chronoed it, and it was doing like silly. I think it was doing like 390. So I know dry gas, a silicon free gas like this is gonna chuck them out a bit spicier, but yeah, that did seem quite a lot. Have I got the dry fire switch on still? Turn that off. Alright, make sure I line this up well. $351, $343, $337, $335, $333, $331, $328, $331. Perfect. Yeah. If you can see that, but that is right where I want it. I might just double check they weren't 2.5s. Just to be sure, you know, just to be sure. I know these traces are definitely 2.5s, so we just pop a couple of 2.5s through it, and we'll know for sure, and I can confidently take it to a game and know that it's going to be site legal. Though I do have, obviously, this bolt carrier is just like a standard one. Sorry, the nozzle that's in the bolt carrier is just a standard one, so it doesn't have an end pass in it, but this is quite a short barrel compared to the one in my XM177. So the barrel in here comes to about here, and the one in here literally it's about an extra inch longer, I think. So it's a bit shorter, so I figured maybe it doesn't need the end pass. Maybe I could do it without, and yeah, but if I do need a bolt with an end pass to bring that down, maybe in the summer when it's really warm, then I'll just take the bolt carrier out the XM177. At least then I know I'm safe. Obviously, the XM177 doesn't have a HK logo on it, which would make me sad, but oh well. 327, ooh, 315, 309, yeah, so 310. So on a 2.5, it's dropped down to around 310, which is again right where I want it. If I do go to a CQB site where they need a lower FPS, I will run the XM177 bolt carrier inside it, because that saves me. Make sure I haven't shot a hole through this shower gel that's in my bag. Sweet. So yeah, that's the VFC 416C complete. Really, I'm super happy with it. I mean, it's dope. This obviously is what I built up to replace my Rattler that I had, that ended up being a huge disappointment. I did manage to get it finally working, but by the time I just kind of lost all the buzz for it, lost all the excitement for it, and yeah, like sold it, just sold it. There's still a couple of little bits that I might still need to take a look at. One of them is the trigger guard. Not sure if I like this sort of Knights Armament trigger guard on this build. It does look kind of cool. It does give it some super like aggressive look. It goes with the Magpul K2 nicely and the trigger. So I do like that, but I do want to see what it looks like with the 416A5 curved trigger guard. The other thing is I've still not got a retention pin for the gas block. It's literally just a grub screw that's holding it in, so I do need to keep making sure that that's tightened down. I've not got a pin that's the right size for that, and it is really bugging me. Also up in here where the gas tube goes into here, I don't have a pin going through there either. So it's kind of annoying, but it doesn't really affect anything. I would like the correct cross bolt for this, maybe, as well, just to give it the more military look and not this airsoft look. But other than that, I mean, the thing's a beast. It is a beast. There's still a couple of things that could do with thread locking, like the grub screw on the ambi selector. But I'm not quite ready to do that yet. I wanted to make sure that it was working properly and firing properly, and that it would, you know, survive an actual game before I start going in and, you know, definitely Loctiting things in place. So that'll have to wait a little bit. Probably do the same thing with the stock, Loctite that in. And yeah, super happy with it. Really like the EOTech on top. Getting rid of having like a front sight on the rail and opting for this fixed folded up front sight from the gas tube was a good idea, because it allowed me to utilize more of the rail space. I would have had to bring my sight back to accommodate the PEC and a front sight, and I didn't really want to do that. I prefer the look of it with the EOTech over the magwell. I think that is where it should sit. And yeah, there goes the BB. So that's my 416C custom VFC V3 gas blowback rifle PDW thing, complete. Super happy with it, and that's pretty much all I got for you. I will do a proper shooting test, accuracy test and stuff in there. I'm pretty confident that the hop up unit that I've got in there is gonna really fly them nice and straight and accurately. It's the TNT one. A buddy of mine's had great results with his VFC gas blowback 416 with the same hop unit. So fingers crossed, that's all good. I don't foresee any issues with it, but I'll do a proper shooting test of it. It's not really something you can compare to stock VFC, because it's not stock VFC. It's just for anyone who's interested in this build and has been following it as I've been sort of putting it together and making adjustments, fine tuning it and tweaking things. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you very much. You're the best. If you like this stuff and you want to see more of it from me, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I upload a new video. Let me know what you think, write some comments, whatever. I enjoy the comments. Oh, I do enjoy reading comments and replying to comments on the videos, right? Even if it's, you think I'm stupid and you think I'm wrong and you want to just insult me, fucking go for it. I've got thick skin, you know, whatever, I don't care. What I don't like is when you do that and then when I come back at you, you remove your comment. That is a proper limp dick move, and I just lose all respect for your opinion if you just go and start deleting your stupid comments. So if you choose removing them, then fair enough. You probably shouldn't have commented what you're commenting anyway. But if you're going through your comments and then deleting them when I reply to you, you just look like a twat. But yeah, enough on that. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.